This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. I'd like to be joined by my good friend and the voice of Queensberry Promotions, Dev Sahni. Dev, how you doing?
I'm okay. You've got to stop saying that. You've got to stop saying that. I'm the voice of Queensberry. Frank's going to give me a slap. I just can't take it.
Let me clarify. You don't speak for Queensberry. just to be clear, unless it's
Yeah,
something Frank agrees with, of course. Um,
yeah. I mean, I'm one of the voices at Queensberry, but there are many others, many other very good voices.
I'll bear that in mind. Other voices are available, you could say. Um, I saw you've been spending a lot of time recently with Zhilei Zhang ahead of Saturday's big fight with Joe Joyce. You did the same with Artur Beterbiev. I'm starting to think Queensbury kind of sends you out as a rogue operative to try and get under their skin, get in their minds before the big fights. Is that what you're doing? Is it all mind games?
I don't know. I mean, if that is the case, it didn't really work with Beterbiev, did it? I mean, it's
No,
kind of it's probably
started
not the
well.
way to go. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like to see them. Someone tweeted, "Oh, are you picking them up? Are you driving them from the airport?" I'm not. I'm just there to sort of stick a mic in their face and get them to say something down the camera. And a nice, opponent coming from overseas, giving a broken English message down the camera with menace, with a bit of a warning, is a good way to start the fight week.
And you seem to be particularly taken with the size of Zhang's fist, as
Yeah,
particularly as it related to your head. I mean, you do realise he's not in there to hit you, right?
I should hope not. I should hope not. But again, if I do end up winding him up this week and he suffers a subsequent loss, you never know where this thing could end up. But yeah, he's got mallets for fists.
That's got to
But
be legal.
I am yeah, yeah. To be fair, we will need to get that checked if
Yeah,
that is the
Robert
case.
Smith will be
But to be
watching this.
yeah, to be fair, I've also had it pointed out to me that maybe I've just got a bit of a small head, which goes against everything that those closer to me are saying, which suggests that my head's getting bigger and bigger. So I don't know.
Metaphor versus reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of the fight generally? Because Joyce, in his current position, could have been forgiven for taking an easier route while he waits for that ultimate full world title shot.
Yeah, look, I just don't think he can mess about. The whole taking an easier fight, I don't think you can. He's 37 years old and he's the last in the rotation of mandatories. It's the WBA, then it's the IBF, and then it's the WBO. You don't know what Tyson Fury is going to do and when he's going to do it. You've got to focus on your own career. And Zhang is a very good operator coming off a brilliant stock raising defeat, is
Yeah.
what he had. And he's in great form and he's known now more than ever. And he will pose some problems if Joe Joyce is heading the Usyk route. It doesn't do him any harm to fight a southpaw, and I think it's just a good fight. It's just a good fight, and another, outside the top guys, I don't know. I mean, even including them, he's developing quite a resume of wins there. Like you look at Joe Parker, Takam, who's in form, just beat Tony Yoka, Stavern, former world champion. On his debut, it was Ian Lewison, Daniel Dubois, who's knocking on the door. He's about to knock out Oleksandr Usyk and become the unified champ.
I
Hey,
like to see what you did there.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, all of that's going on. I think he's just built up a hell of a resume, and adding Zhilei Zhang to it, who many people think beat Filip Hrgovic, who many people think should be the mandatory challenger to Oleksandr Usyk, only raises his stock more. And yeah, it's an enjoyable journey with Joe Joyce, and yeah, I think it's a very good fight for him, and it's just guaranteed action. This is just two guys who are going to absolutely put it on each other as soon as the bell rings.
I'm stealing enjoyable journey with Joe Joyce for my upcoming children's book.
It's quite good though. There was a lot of J's in that, wasn't there?
Yeah, a lot of alliteration crazy. I liked it. You've mentioned Dubois Usyk more than once already. Is that going to be next?
I mean, look, as far as I know, my understanding of the whole situation is that the WBA have said to Usyk, you've got to fight Daniel Dubois next. Daniel Dubois has declared himself fit and ready. He's given the doctor's note to the WBA, and the WBA have said, okay, Cool. Well, you're good to go. So my understanding is now they've got up until a certain date to negotiate the fight. I can't remember what that date was. Maybe they've got about a month or so, but they've got a certain date to negotiate the fight. If they can't negotiate it, the WBA will order purse bids, and at that point, it's whoever bids the highest gets the fight. But I understand that George and Alex Krasik are talking, negotiating, and that should be the next fight for both guys.
They should be very close by now, George and Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alex has moved in with him. I mean,
One
they're
way to
chatting
get
all
the
the
fight
time.
done, I suppose.
Yeah, well, let's hope so.
Because there's these rumours, I say rumours, Frank Warren said it outright, that he believes Usyk pulled out of the fight with Fury to fight Deontay Wilder in Saudi. How's that going to mesh with Daniel Dubois getting his shot? Do we expect Usyk to possibly give that belt up?
I don't think that there is a scenario where Usyk gives his belt up. I think that he, around the whole Tyson Fury fight, he has talked about he doesn't care who holds that WBC belt. He wants the WBC belt because he wants to be undisputed. Tyson Fury just happens to be the guy who's holding it. So you can't withdraw from negotiations with Tyson Fury and then vacate your WBA belt to chase a fight with Deontay Wilder if your actual goal is to become undisputed champion. You're essentially only fighting for a couple of the belts. You take a step back. Financially, you may be taking a step forward, but legacy-wise, I don't know. If you're chasing those 4 belts, you can't really be vacating any. I don't know what the situation is with all of that. It was interesting to see Deontay Wilder and Martin Bakole without jumping switch places in the WBA rankings.
And in the WBC, apparently.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Billy Nelson just now, yeah.
Oh, okay. Look, I think that there was probably a lot of hope from a lot of parties that Daniel Dubois was injured and that he could be bypassed in some way, shape, or form. But him declaring that he is ready to go, him declaring that he's going to knock out Oleksandr Usyk, means that he is ready. And the WBA have cleared him, clear to fight, but they've accepted his note, and he's in training and he's ready to go. So those any sort of Wilder plans, if you want to retain your belt, have to be put on the back burner.
How does Daniel Dubois go about beating Usyk? He's a very tough puzzle to solve, and Dubois is not the most experienced heavyweight out there. What does he need to rely on to get the job done?
Well, look, since the Joe Joyce fight, right, there was a feeling that maybe Daniel Dubois now, after having suffered that injury, suffered that defeat, that heartbreaking loss, maybe he's going to be a bit more gun shy. Maybe it will be a little bit like, what's happened with Anthony Joshua after suffering a knockout loss. Does he become more gun shy? I've not seen any being gun shy from Daniel Dubois. He's still fighting like he was, in my opinion, and he is fearless. At times, a little bit reckless, but he is absolutely fearless, and he's got huge, immense power. How does he go about beating Oleksandr Usyk? By backing himself, by fearlessly exchanging with him and trusting his chin and trusting he's got the power to knock Oleksandr Usyk out. Usyk is 10 years older than him. He's smaller than him naturally. He doesn't hit as hard as him. And I don't think Joshua really landed his Sunday punch on Oleksandr Usyk. And I think if Daniel Dubois lands his, he could well knock him out. So that's how he's got to approach it fearlessly. He's got to take all the reputation out of it and just say, I'm fighting a guy who's older than me and smaller than me, and I'm going to knock him out.
That's my usual thought process going into a fight.
Well, you're 10-0 on the streets now? I'm hearing around the mean streets of Rochester.
Particularly against people older and smaller than me, yeah.
Yes, they just
They're
can't
the
handle
ones
the
I fight. It's in my contract. We talked about the exciting heavyweight scene, particularly in Britain. Where do the real big names fit into this, namely Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua?
I don't know what Tyson Fury is going to do next. I can't predict
no one
it.
Does.
I've not heard. Yeah, I know. I've not heard.
I don't know if he does.
Any. Yeah, well, I mean, last I heard he was on holiday, and then Isaac Lowe put a picture out, so he was in the gym. But I don't know, and I'm too long in the tooth to try to predict what Tyson Fury will do next. Let's just hope we see him soon. With Anthony Joshua, well, he said he's sitting out till December now. So, yeah, that was quite a surprise, wasn't it? What did you think of that?
I think if he's going to focus on being in the gym with his new trainer for the majority of that time and make some adjustments, it could be a good thing. But I don't know. Once you're back on the horse, if people are worried, if the main concern with Joshua is that he's gun shy, surely the more activity he gets, the better to kind of work that out of his system.
That's what it feels like to me, and that felt like the mood music around the Jermaine Franklin fight. Heading into it was all about this one, then a bigger one, then a bigger one, about activity. After the fight, it was about back out in July, activity. So this has caught me off guard a bit, and I don't know. Is it they're planning something massive in December that we don't know about? We know, like, the Saudis start to get interested around that kind of time. Or so does he not want to jeopardize a potentially bigger purse at the end of the year by taking an interim fight before that, where someone like Dillian White, if he does take a Dillian White in July, Dillian White might chin him.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Well, who knows? Who knows? One thing I did want to speak to you about, recent stuff that you did really impressed me, actually. Probably the most since you gave me a lift home about a year ago. Hasn't happened since.
Go on.
And that was how you've kind of stuck by and supported Amir Khan during his recent tribulations. You're not, promotionally affiliated with him. You're not obligated to kind of support him in any way, but you very publicly showed your support. You were with him recently as well. Just tell us why you felt you should do that.
I mean, I was invited to a dinner with him, and I attended, so that's why I was with him. I'm not normally with him, but I'm a big Amir Khan fan. I'm a huge Amir Khan fan. I've always been a big advocate of Amir Khan. I think in this particular instance, he has taken a ban, right? But he has gone through the process. That's the key thing here.
Yeah.
He went through the full process, saw the board, saw UKAD, took his punishment. UKAD were able to sanction him. They sanctioned him. They've then done a statement saying there's no way it could have helped him on the night, and that we believe that you didn't intentionally take it.
Yeah.
So with all of those things in mind, like, of course I'm gonna stand by Amir Khan. I back the route that he took. He didn't try and relinquish his license or anything like that. He went through the full process, and strict liability means he's got a ban. I don't personally think it tarnishes his legacy, especially with the supporting UKAD statement. It's just something that got into his system.
And how is he from you spending that? I don't mean from you spending that time with him. I don't mean did you perk up his mood. I mean, how is he from your experience, just speaking to him and on a personal level? How's he getting on?
Yeah, he's on form. He's fine. He was given a few speeches. We were having a laugh. He's a funny, amusing guy, and yeah, he seems okay. I think obviously there's going to be a bit of a media storm, but he doesn't seem particularly affected by it. I think the supporting, you've seen on his social media, he put that thing out from UKAD yesterday as well, and look, he's getting a lot of support from his fans. And there seems to be this feeling that this whole thing happening somehow sort of exonerated CONOR BENN, but it hasn't. He's gone through the process. That's the thing, and I think that there are fans that are supporting. Oh well, at least you've gone through it and you faced them, and you're taking your ban, and they've said that it wasn't in there on purpose.
Because there's been a lot of kind of discussion on social media, as there always is, about it potentially tarnishing his legacy. For me, I don't think in 5-10 years' time, people are really going to be talking about this.
I don't think so either. I think it's come right at the very end of his career. I understand even around this fight there were supporting tests in the build-up where he was fine.
But he passed, yeah.
He passed. There's never been any sort of drug scandal surrounding him at any other time. He's never been taken out of any rankings because he wasn't, signed up sufficiently, or any sort of suspicion around him, as far as I'm aware. So I don't think it does, and I agree with you. I think in 5-10 years' time, I don't think people will be talking about, oh yeah, but didn't this happen in the final fight of his career?
Now, just before I let you go, more positive note. You've recently extended the Dev Sahni MC brand overseas. We're back in Europe, or at least you are, in
Yeah,
Italy. How did that come about?
just mad, mate. Life's just mental. You just sometimes you just get opportunities. So I do the ring announcing for BT Sport sometimes on the smaller
Of
shows,
course.
right? So we
My
had
favourite
Viro.
shows for that reason.
Yeah, same. I agree. We had Viro Lenti, an Italian fighter, and I gave him the big build up. And his manager slash promoter guy just loved me. He was getting photos with me after and all sorts. And I was doing all of that, pointing to him.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
and then
awesome.
they do shows out there, and they invited me to ring announce a show for them. Michael Magnesi, who fought Kakachi on the Joyce
Mm.
Parker show, he was the headline, and it was good fun. It was good fun. It was just a strange, wild experience. They had me doing all sorts of stuff out there, um, like in between rounds. Over here, it's not the ring announcer that does the corners, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds out, right? Yeah. So I had to do that as well, which they just threw on me. I had to read out the WBC in-round scoring after every
No?
4 rounds. You have to read it out. I don't know. The geezer just chucked it in front of me. I was like, okay, well, I'll just go through that. It was all a bit crazy, but
Was it
I
just in
enjoyed it.
English, or did you have to do it in Italian as well?
At the start of it, at the very start of the show, live on Rice Ball, I greeted everyone in Italian and then just switched to English. So yeah, it was like buonasera, signor, signor, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. So switched to that, did the whole thing in English, and can't imagine many people understood me, but I'd imagine everyone enjoyed it.
Did you do you plan to do more?
I mean, they seem to like me. They've said all the right things. Let's see. It's good fun. It's like it's a nice string to have to the bow, isn't it? A little bit of MCing on the side.
Oh, brilliant. No, really glad for you. No, it's really good.
Thanks.
All right. Really appreciate your time, and let's catch up again soon. I'll see you during fight week anyway. But
See me during fight week, and look, just remember Joyce versus Zhang. Mate, this is huge. This is the best heavyweight
as
fight
huge as
that's
his
been
fist.
scheduled this year. As huge as his fists. His fists are absolute mallets. So are Joe Joyce's. These are two absolute monsters. Two of the biggest heavyweights, two of the hardest hitting heavyweights, two Olympic silver medalists. And they're gunning for gold. And now they've got to get each other out the way to go and get it.
This is why the Italians wanted you. This is
There
it.
you
You
go.
nailed it
There you go.
in
All
one
into Google
sentence.
Translate. Yeah.
Yeah, need that. Really appreciate
All
it,
right,
mate. You
mate.
take care.